Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Eating While Broke. I'm your host, Coline Witt, and today we have very special guest, entrepreneur in the building, Tucky Blunt. And just like the name, we are going to talk cannabis, okay? So we're going to be talking cannabis today all the way from the Bay.
Yes. I'm a fan, so I appreciate y'all sharing your personally sharing your platform with me and just overall the whole platform. So I appreciate what y'all doing.
Thank you. And we appreciate you coming and really sharing the transparency behind the cannabis industry, what it took to get to own your own dispensary, lounge, and events business. So before we get into all the tea on the business side, I want to know what you were eating while you were broke and what you're going to be having me eat today.
Oh, man, this is scary. So what we're eating today is basically a play on bacon, egg, and cheese with Spam. So we're doing a Spam, egg, and cheese sandwich, something I ate a lot of when I was younger, but I haven't eaten in about 30 plus years. So this should be interesting. Spam is interesting. We used to call it spare parts and meat. So hopefully that's not what it is anymore.
There's some, I forgot which guest of ours, like genuinely, was it Miguel Nunes? Remember Miguel Nunes from Juana?
Yeah.
He loves Spam.
Yes. When I was younger, I didn't know no reason not to love Spam. It was great. But about 8th, 9th grade on a field trip I was telling people off camera.
You need this?
My mom would cut this would be 2 sandwiches. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Thick, uncooked, and one of the homies on the field trip was like, bro, you eating that? I'm like, yeah, what is that? What's wrong with it? He's like, no, we don't eat that. And ever since then, I never ate it again.
You leave it to okay. I got you the Wonder Bread. And usually I don't do it, but we did have a elected official come on the show, and he really expressed the importance of keeping it all the way 100. So today I decided to torture you with Wonder Bread, because we all know Wonder Bread is a very delicate bread. And I was going to get you the nice bread, but I said, delicate. Why not make your life harder?
I ain't mad.
Since you're going to give me Spam.
I ain't mad at all. You see how this butter trying to do me? So
yeah, I
pretty
see
simple.
you. I don't know what you're doing. What's this little drop of butter in the middle of the bread? But here we go.
Yep.
Cook it up. So take me back to what was going on in the Spam era of life.
So that was 93, 94. So I was 14, 13, going to junior high school at a place called Frick in Oakland, California. Like I said, we didn't know we was poor. I lived in a shelter before and stuff like that, but we didn't know we was poor.
I think someone stabs the back or something to get it out.
Yeah, I do remember that. Remember that. But we just, we was just eating. We didn't think nothing of it. I was going to school, straight A student, living in Oakland. It was different back then than it is now. That's pretty much it. I was a nerd. I was a nerd in school, and I really enjoyed school, but we just didn't have a lot of money. And we didn't, both my parents had been on drugs before. I lived with my grandmother, like I said, I've lived in a shelter before. So we was just, trying to get back used to things. My mom had just got custody of us. So she was doing what she could do to feed us. You know what I mean? And that's how Spam came about. Like I said, I never knew nothing was wrong with Spam until 9th grade.
Damn, does this look reminiscent to you? A little bit? Is it?
It's like it's bringing back a lot. Not in a bad way, but it's bringing back a lot because this is how we used to eat. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, so your mom gets you back, and you leave your grandma's back to your mom. Where's your poppy at?
My pops was around. We were talking about that recently too. My mom and dad lived in the same city, still live in the same city now, but they can't stand each other.
Oh, for real?
They can't stand each other.
To this day?
To this day.
That's
to this
hilarious.
day. To the point, right now, currently, if I call my mom and tell her that my dad's at my house or vice versa, they're gonna be mad at me.
They're gonna be mad at you?
Yes.
Wow.
So I've been going through that as a child then, because they was going back and forth to court. So dad was around, but dad would rather us love him to death, but he would rather us live with his mom instead of him. So it was interesting.
But why that?
I still to this day don't know. I have no clue. Yeah, but he had a house, but we never went to it. We would go out, hang out on weekends, go do stuff, and then he'd drop us back off at my granny house. So I don't know if it was something to spite my mom. I have no idea.
So you never saw his house?
No, we would see it, but we never stay in it. No overnight.
Oh, but you could hang out in it.
Yeah, we hang out in it. Yeah, and when it was time to go home and go to sleep, I spent the night at my daddy's house maybe once when I was younger. Outside of him and my mom being together.
And you never asked him?
Not until I got older, because when I was younger, I didn't think nothing of it. We just looked as we're going back to granny house.
Yeah.
We didn't think anything of it.
So when you ask him now, what is the answer?
It turns into an argument.
Oh, you really can't. Okay.
Yeah, no, you really it's
okay.
Yeah, it's funky.
Okay, but they still don't get along. Were they married?
They were never married. Childhood sweethearts, met when they was 12, had me when they were 17 and 16.
Okay.
So.
And they both got into drugs?
Yes.
Heavy drugs, light drugs. I'm sorry, I'm like a hella nosy person.
No, heavy. Both of them were users. My dad started first. Mom was stay-at-home mom. Dad paid all the bills. So once he stopped paying the bills, mom was kind of like all over the place, didn't know what to do. We moved with her mom, and that got kind of funky because she's her baby daughter moving home with 3 kids. That wasn't a good look. Cussed her out every day. We ended up in a shelter. Mom's was like, I was a nerd, so I was like really smart as a kid. She would have to take me from, let's just say, Burbank to LAX every day in a broke down car. She couldn't afford it. So she was like, man, I'm gonna send you with your daddy. He's gonna be getting his stuff together. I'm gonna send you with him. And when I get myself together, I'm gonna come back and get y'all. That was like 89, and my mama came and got us back in 92.
Wow.
And she don't like me talking about her on podcasts or nothing, but I love my mama. Mama did a whole lot for us to get back, and she see this interview, she's gonna cuss me out.
Oh, for real? Why? Because she doesn't like
she don't like to be talked about. She's one of them people who still how can I put it? My mom gonna die without friends. I put it like that. She's one of them people that just everything is a conspiracy, and I hate that for her. You know what I mean? Like, you need to get out, mom. You need to have some friends. Like, you need to go. She just sits in her house. So that's a whole nother story. But this was one of her favorite meals. So.
Okay. Yeah. So you are a straight A student at some point. So she decides to send you back because she couldn't. So what was she putting you in a really good school at the time?
Yeah, I was in a school called Peter Pan, which was one of the higher end like private schools. And I got in because of my brains, because we couldn't afford to go there. And then my sisters, all of them went, loved us. I graduated. I skipped a grade there. I graduated. From there, I think you're supposed to graduate 5th grade, like 12 or something. I was done at 10. So everything was great on that, and she didn't want me to miss that. She's like, no, I want you to go to that school, because she taught us while Pops was at work. Mom was at home teaching us how to count, how to add, all that stuff.
Oh, she's a really good mom.
Yeah, she had a whole chart like that had the days of the week, the months of the year, the 5 times tables, 10 times tables. I'm learning that at 1 and 2 years old.
Okay.
So I went to school ready.
She was a beast.
Yeah. So when Pops wasn't doing his end, it kind of messed up the whole family dynamic overall. So, you know, and that's no hate or no shade on him. It's just things happen.
Yeah. So then what happens?
Get with moms. Moms is, both my parents sold weed for a very long time. And we in my family never looked at weed as like a bad thing. I never knew that cannabis was bad ever, because it was part of my family. Dominoes, food, weed. And when I got about, I mean, it was literally that order. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can always peek through the kitchen and they smoking their weed and they playing their bones. That's just what we knew. And about 13, I started smoking. I was like, all right, it's cool. You know, weed is cool, but it wasn't really my thing. By age 16, it was my thing, and I knew I could sell it. And I was like, if I'm going to sell it, where am I going to sell it? Everybody I knew was going to jail for selling drugs on the street. So I was like, man, I got to figure out a better way to sell weed. And it was at work. I've always had a job since I was 13. So at 16, I'm working at a grocery store. All of my coworkers smoked. So I'm like, oh shit, I don't need to be on the corner. I can sell all my weed. This is my corner.
Okay.
So everywhere I worked, I sold everything I've ever sold in my life. I sold to coworkers. Aside from selling weed, I detail cars, detail bikes. I threw parties, just all the stuff.
You were a hustler.
I was a hustler.
You were, but I don't want to say you're a hustler, because it sounds like you know. I think hustlers sometimes
get
take
a bad
advantage
rap
of people, but I think you are an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur.
I take that. I would take that. And I just applied that to being at work. I'm like, if I'm going to be here, I was making more money at work than I made at work. And
that's hilarious.
Continued that all my life, and kind of fast forward, sold weed for about 8 years, no issues. And then in 2005, one of the guys I was buying weed from snitched on me. And the police came, they arrested me, whatever. I bailed out the same night, but that arrest led to me qualifying for the program that allowed me to get my store.
And what was that program?
That program is called the Social Equity Program that originated in Oakland, which gave people who was convicted of cannabis charges chances at ownership in the cannabis space. And I'm the first person to open a cannabis store out of that program.
And that was 2005.
No. It's crazy. I caught the case in 2005. None of this happened until 2018.
Wait, you didn't get to open legally till 2018?
Because legalization just started in 2016.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because 2005 seems a little new. So wait, you go to jail for it, and then how do you hear about the program?
So I go to jail, get out, I continue working, continue doing everything I was doing, selling weed, all the stuff, never stopped. All these years later.
Oh, so you getting arrested didn't stop you from
No. It just, what happened was, and I left that out. Remember I told you I sold all my weed at work. Mm-hmm. That particular time I wasn't at work because I was in between jobs and my son was finna be born. So with him finna be born and me having extra time on my hand, I'm like, I'm gonna go to my street, go to my turf and sell some weed. I'm out there. It was a great time. I seen why people was outside selling weed. I'm like, this is fun. But that's when I got snitched on. Them snitching on me is how I qualified for that program. So 15, 16 years later, I get a phone call from one of my homeboys, Mike Marshall. You familiar with the song I Got 5 on It?
Yeah.
So the guy that's singing I Got 5 on it, his name is Mike Marshall. He called me and was like, hey, Tucky, you ever caught a weed case in Oakland? I'm like, yeah, that's hella random, but I have. Why? He was like, man, I know 2 people out of Atlanta that's trying to open a store through this program called Social Equity, but they need someone that qualifies. It was me. I'm like, well, what do they need from me? It was like, they just want to meet you and talk to you. I'm like, all right, we met. I thought we was on board, on point. They was good people. Next thing I know, we applied. I got this phone call in September. We applied for the license in December of 17. January 31st of 18, we won the license in a lottery. 2 people I never met. Now we got a license in $1 billion industry and had to work together from there.
OMG.
Exactly. So you do the math.
But who created the social equity program? Was it a government thing?
It was a government thing. Yep. City of Oakland government did it. One lady named Desley Brooks had something to do with it. Another guy named Keith Stevenson, who owned a cannabis club up there called Purple Heart. He was a part of it. It was just a way for them to, if y'all gonna legalize, y'all need to give these people who's been adversely affected a chance to own in this space. Period.
I didn't know there was a such thing, because my dad used to get really upset about, like, yo, they got all these people in jail that know the industry in and out, and they can't get in, and there was a whole program.
Yes, there's a program. It came out in 2016.
But was it only in Oakland, or is it
No, it's one in LA right now. It's been going on.
It's one in LA right now?
Right now, currently.
So if you have a history...
Big Kika, I don't know if you're familiar with Kika, but Kika has a store called Gorilla Wellness. It's on, I want to say it's on Crenshaw. Mm-hmm. Social Equity owned. She's the first social equity in LA.
It's a female owned.
Female owned. Black female, Big Kika. You should have her on here. Good lady. Super good lady. But yeah, that's how I became famous in the legal cannabis space. But from 96, I've been the celebrities weed man since 96. Like all my friends, like we was talking off our camera, 99% of my friends are celebrities. Really? Because I pick and choose my clients. You know what I mean? I didn't want just, I don't know. It was different. I sold.
That's after you went to jail. You got real selective who your customers.
No, it was crazy. No, before I was already selling to celebrities before. Mm-hmm. I just was selective about how I sold my weed. I never went back to saying outside. It was always at work. Mm-hmm. You had to call me and you had to know me. Outside attracted a different kind of attention. Police is all in your face. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want that. Like I don't want to go to jail. So I'm doing something legal. The best way for me to do it is at work.
Why did you say that when you were outside it was fun though?
Because like the outside life back then in 2005, selling weed was like a movie outside. Like my spot was known.
Your fire is up way too high.
This one?
The eggs.
Yeah, that's why I moved it over here. This one is
I'm
like
saying you may want to turn that one down. All right,
this
sorry.
One, no, you good. This
Backwards
one cooking like
cooking.
that one.
What is it, side cooking?
Yes, you all good.
Backseat cooking?
05 back then, outside, my turf where I'm from was a dope spot. They sold dope. They didn't sell weed. So with us bringing weed to the table, it brought a different type of people over there. Like back then, prior to my wife, I was a ladies' man. So all my lady clients, they coming over there. The different people getting to see that. They're like, man, because they clients are dope fiends. You know what I'm saying? Not dressing right. Typical dope fiend stuff. So it changed the dynamic, and I got to just see how fun being outside was. We having block parties. We bringing the dirt bikes out. We just kicking it. But I'm like, nah, this ain't really me, because the police driving by all day.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got to tuck stuff. I got to hide stuff. I'm not used to that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it was fun, but it wasn't nothing that I could like, it was just temporary. It was
Yeah.
until I got hired at my job. And the guy who snitched on me, I started work Monday. He snitched on me on a Thursday. So he knew I started work that Monday and was trying to have me in jail to miss my first day of working.
Wow.
Cold piece of work.
But how long did you spend time in jail for?
I bailed out the same night because I had no prior.
Oh, so. but did you ever go back? Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that you served like one night in jail?
4 hours, bailed out. My
and you
bail
were
was
able to qualify for the equity program
as long as
through
you
a lottery.
caught a charge in cannabis, and I caught a felony. When they caught me, I had $80 worth of weed on me, and I got 10 years of felony probation with a 4-way search clause. That meant anytime for 10 years, anybody I'm riding with, anywhere I'm at, I can get searched.
You got a felony for $80?
Felony for $80 worth of weed. My first offense, never been to jail, never had no record.
I'm really glad that you got the equity program because honestly, to have a felony for such a low...
It's a lot. It's a lot. And it kind of, for lack of better words, it fucked off my life, but I didn't realize it. I didn't know what it was doing to my life because I'm a positive person. Mm-hmm. I don't let nothing keep me down longer than it need to. So when it happened, I'm like, all right, I can't do this, but I can do this. And that's just what I did. I never let it stop me because if I did, I wouldn't be talking to you.
But when you found out you got a felony, it would affect your ability to sell, well, obviously have a job, which was your main place to sell the weed. So how did that affect you emotionally?
So what's crazy is when he snitched on me, the place that I started working for Alameda County at the time, I was working to be a probation officer. Me and the guy used to go to the shooting range every Tuesday and Thursday to practice shooting. I had a registered firearm, so I wanted to go practice my shooting, whatever. We do our transaction in the parking lot, go about our business. He knew, like I said, that I started work that Monday. So when I go to work that Monday to work at probation, I already have the case. You can't work at probation on probation. So they sent me somewhere else to work for the county. They couldn't fire me because I was already hired. So it worked out. Everything happened for. Had I not already had that job, I wouldn't have been able to get a job. I would have had to been forced to the streets. Yeah. So I called Heavenly Father Yahweh. Yahweh set it up to where, no, we're going to go ahead and get you this job. We're going to also get you snitched on so it can come back and help you later on down the line. I don't know that, Coline. Like, how do you walk that and don't you?
Yeah, of course. But now, what was the learning curve for the equity license? Like, what was some of the things that you had to learn to do it to where it's a lasting business?
I'm still learning now. I closed my store in March. I still got other businesses, but I closed my store in March because I'm still learning. Remember I told you the people I partner with, I never met before. So they robbed me blind. After about 2 years, they took the money and went to open a store in another state. I had no clue.
Can they do that? Is the license not based on area?
They didn't have the license for the store. They used the name and the notoriety from the store to go out there and have somebody else get them a license. Oh. And I had no clue. Ended up finding out because people was coming up on me in the streets like, hey, Tucky, we ain't been paid. Where our money? And I'm like, what do you mean? Because when I opened the business, I was more like a face of the brand. I didn't know nothing about the legal side of the business. They were supposed to teach me. They didn't teach me. They just stole from me. So how
are you getting paid?
So I was getting paid as a employee at first, which was totally wrong. Fixed that, and now I'm getting paid as a consultant. So that happened after I got robbed twice. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. I had to learn. So it's like the equity program was great. I love what it did for me, allowing me to be in this space. But it's still a learning curve now because legalization just happened, 2016. How are you supposed to know everything by now? It's only been 8 years.
Now, when they give you the equity program, they don't hold your hand through it? They just hand you the license?
Basically, at that time, yes.
They don't put you through any type of classes?
No, they didn't have none set up at the time.
So how do they not expect you to not mess up? So it's like it's almost like a setup to fail.
It was a setup, yes. From
the program.
And again, I respect what they did, but it's just like anything. When you start something off, you have to fine tune it after a while. Yeah. It's time for the fine tuning. Right now, currently, it's time for the fine tuning, and it's happening now. But for me to have to be open 5 years, 6 years, I was open 6 years. I had 5 break-ins in 6 years. I had
and it's an all cash business, right?
Cash business.
What's the rules with the because I've had talks with multiple people about this because I thought with the cannabis business legally you can't have the money in banks because then it would be a federal.
So you're not supposed to have money in banks, but yet and still there's cannabis banks. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, how do we do it if it's federally illegal, but you telling me you're holding my money? And then most of the banks are charging fees that are ridiculous.
Well, wait, what do you mean a cannabis bank? You're going to have to educate us.
So they have banks that take cannabis money that, that are actual legal banks, but they're set up under the bank, not under like figuratively, but under the bank, under like another LLC. So they'll take your money and everything will be cool. You can have debit card purchases and everything. But overall, at the end of the day, if a bank wants to come in and shut you down, they can come shut you down.
A bank? Why would a bank shut you down?
They can come because you're funneling funds illegally, technically. We're still a Schedule I drug. So technically, every day that I'm open, I'm selling weed illegally to the feds. But because of checks and balances within the state, I can do it state legally. So the feds just leave you alone. But every day that we sell weed, we can go to jail. But it's supposed to be legal. And it's still people in jail for it. That's a whole nother.
Well, slow down, because my brain is very slow. So what you're saying is that, but that's only illegal if you have a bank account, right?
No, it's illegal every day that we're open. It's federally illegal. Any cannabis business right now that's open right now as we talk is illegal because to the feds. But the feds aren't bothering you because of checks and balances. The state controls it. So they're like, go ahead, you can do whatever you do. As long as you ain't doing too much, we ain't gonna come bother you. Because it is legal by the state. But by the feds, no, I'm illegal every day. I shouldn't be selling weed at all.
Okay, so, but, there's so much to unpack here.
Catch-22.
So do you still have the license?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so in the Bay.
Yeah, yes, I do. In the Bay. Yes, ma'am.
But you don't have the cannabis store right now.
I don't understand. Nope, close.
So do you have people hounding you 24/7?
As far as to get back open and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, they miss me. They're like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, when you opening? I'm like, man, I need to, make it more convenient and accessible.
This looks good.
I need to make it more convenient and accessible, so that's why I pivoted and doing what I'm doing now.
What are you doing?
So I do events and I do pop-ups. I'm basically a store without being a brick and mortar.
Okay. And are you allowed to sell? Well, this is kind of a dumb question, but are you allowed to sell online? Do you need to cut it? Sorry.
Yes, I will.
So let's just do a quick taste test.
Yes, ma'am.
This looks really good. I love the fried egg. I love how you did the fried egg.
Cool.
The way you did the Spam had a little crust on it. I just have to acknowledge all of this because it actually looks really delicious.
Cool.
Okay, here we go. Right. Cheers.
That really does not taste bad. I can't even front.
That shit tastes amazing.
I can't even front. And she was talking about the Spam all day. It's actually not bad.
It's really good.
Wow.
You gave up this because some kid talk smack?
Yeah.
It's really good. Call your homeboy back and be like, it was really good.
This is pretty good. All right.
Jared was talking smack, guys, back there about the strawberry jelly. Strawberry jelly is definitely necessary.
That's the kit. You got to. Yeah, you couldn't do it raw. Can't put no mayo or nothing. It has to be the jelly.
Good.
She took 3 bites. I'm happy. This was one of my main meals as a youngster.
This is a great main meal. Shout outs to your mom.
Man, for sure, I love that lady to death, boy. But
shout outs to your mom. This is good. All right.
Online. So yes, you can sell online, but you run that same risk with the dealing with cards and dealing with the federal government because you're not supposed to do that because we're selling drugs, technically. So what I do, I throw events the same way I threw events back when I got arrested. I throw an event at a venue, let's just say an art show. You want weed at the event, I'll be outside with the delivery truck. You text your order, we'll bring it right in. So the event is not a weed event, it's an event that just so happens to have weed. So now I don't have to have a brick and mortar. So a lot of people follow me to figure out how to move around in the space. And for the longest time, I was like, get a brick and mortar, get a brick and mortar. I'm not pushing that really no more. Unless you own the land that the brick and mortar is on, it's no point.
Why do you say unless you own it?
Because, so what I'm going through with the store, the second time around, I got new partners. The new partners I got were my original landlords. So they've been around the whole time. I'm thinking that, we good. Y'all seen what happened. These people that came to my wedding, we gonna be good. They were stealing from me too.
The landlord?
Yes.
How?
So, because they were hired by me to handle the store. Mind you, I don't know how to run the store yet because I was never told. So, when I don't know how to do something, I'm going to employ somebody that knows how to do it. So they said they knew how to do it. They was doing it, but they were stealing. And same thing. I'm in the streets. People like, Tucky, we ain't being paid. People I've never met before, but they know me from the store. Long story short, I ended up figuring out that they were stealing, confronted them on it, got it proof that they, that they were stealing, but they are my landlord. So if I caught you stealing, you think they're going to let me stay in their building?
No.
I'm kicked out. So what am I supposed to do? You have to own the land. If I'm just renting from you, you could not like me 1 month. It cut my lease. Now my business is gone. What am I supposed to do with that? And the city, they know that this is going on, but what can they do? You sign a lease agreement with a place. They don't have to, the city can't make them keep you there.
You can't just fire them and just be like, you're fired?
I could have in normal circumstances, but being that they were my landlord, they felt like they had that over me. Mm-hmm. So if you don't want us here, then you can't be here either.
Okay. So how does the events distribution go again?
So it's pretty simple. You have an event. Mm-hmm. You have someone attached to the event that has a license that can sell, and you can have smoke. I mean, you can sell and smoke there. That person can be in the same building, or they can be outside. And I just choose to do it outside because that way when you label something as a weed event, it tends to get overly scrutinized for no reason. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We're just chilling, we're just smoking. But if I label it as an art event, I probably wouldn't even have no police show up. You know what I mean? So for me, it was about pivoting to be able to still sell weed to the community, but then do it to where I don't have to be in a brick and mortar. I miss my staff, right? But between staff, rent, utilities, and security, I spend like $50,000 a month just on that.
Wow.
Just on that. Nothing else. I was literally opening my doors to pay taxes and pay my staff, and that's something else people don't know about. The taxes on the weed is way different. We don't get no write-offs. Like how we sitting here in this office and you get write-off for the lights, electricity.
My clothes and everything.
I don't get none of that.
Why?
Because we're selling dope. Because we're Schedule 1. If they reschedule, if they deschedule cannabis, we can get those write-offs. As long as to the federal government we are selling drugs, there's no write-off for selling drugs.
Is it because it's a cash-based business?
No, it's because it's a drug. It's a Schedule 1 drug.
Okay. I'm saying this because I'm just trying to get an understanding. Mm-hmm. Maybe from the government's perspective, they're like, they're going to figure out a way to hide some of the cash because, that's what entrepreneurs we do. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, do you think that they're doing that because they're like, look, man, they're already going to pocket some. We don't need to add write-offs, so reduce the taxes.
100%. There's something called 280E. 280E is a tax code that affects cannabis. 280E just basically says you're selling drugs, so you don't get no write-offs. And as long as cannabis is in that Schedule 1, we'll never be able to get write-offs. All I get write-offs is COGS, cost of goods sold. That's the only thing I get.
But now, how do they track how much money you make?
So we had to report everything. There's something called what is a database? Metric. So everything that you get from seed to sale is tracked. Mm-hmm. So now there are people who doing stuff backdoor. We know that. That's just what happens. But I never did. I did everything above board and got screwed twice. I didn't want to say fucked, but got screwed twice. Mm-hmm. It's a lot, and people aren't giving the game. People aren't sharing what they're going through, so we don't all bump our head. Mm-hmm. Like, I went through a lot, and I think other people should know what I was going through so they don't have to go through that. You know what I mean?
So is there a way to make the money and kind of hide the money? Like, how are they knowing how much weed you're purchasing and how much profit you're supposed to make?
So it's not about profit for them. They don't care. Like,
no, I'm just saying, like, how, when it comes to the taxes, because taxes, every entrepreneur's,
Yes.
It can actually make a business quite profitable if you know how to work taxes right. So I'm saying, if you don't get any tax write-offs, the next thing I would do as just an entrepreneur would be to steal.
Figure out how to hide the money.
Yeah.
And that's what the people are doing. They're just stealing.
But how are they able to do it?
Because I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. So the way that they're able to do it is because we're not federally legal. So you can steal, and I can say, hey, I'm going to sue you. But where is that really going to go? Because we're not federally legal. You're going to take me to a federal court to sue me for money that you claiming I stole from you? You got to prove it. And then once you do prove it, we're still in federal. It's illegal. Like, I've had people threaten lawsuits on me that I was able to get null and void just because it was federally illegal. You got to know your LLC rights.
But I'm saying, like, if I have a license to sell weed, right, and I don't get any tax write-offs, can I just buy the weed, sell the weed, keep the cash, and report like 10%?
Not legally. You can do it illegally. You can do
But
it
I'm
back
saying,
door.
can I get caught?
Oh yeah.
How would they catch me?
Um,
Like, do they have a checks and balance? Like, you buy weed from a federal spot? I don't know where you buy the weed from. Is there like a
no, that's the
checks and
metric. That's
balances?
the metric thing I'm talking about. Metric is how everything is tracked. So if you buy it from a legal place, it has to go through metric. If you're not buying it through legal, it don't matter. It's not on no radar. So you can do whatever you want.
So why wouldn't a person that has a license not buy legal? Why wouldn't we buy it illegal?
Because they had a license and they're trying to do it right. But it hasn't worked for anybody. Not like it should. Because the overtaxation. And we're overly regulated too. Like it's a lot.
I see a lot of dispensaries in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
They'll open and then within a year or two they shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just also see, like, when I do, because I do engage in edibles, just for everyone that's curious. I take edibles to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hang out with a lot of mommies and we are hanging out with our kids, I like to pass around edibles. Starburst for you, Starburst for you. But when I do go into dispensaries, there's like all these rules about, paying in cash. There's cameras everywhere. And then they're always getting shut down.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's very tempting if they're putting all these rules up. So even though you're doing it legally, to kind of go back to doing it illegally, right? To survive. And
it's forced a lot of people to do that. But people like us who want to do it legally and want to show other people that we can do it legally, it makes it hard. Because they like you said, every time one opens, one closes. So what I've been telling people is quit coming in the game to just grow and sell weed. Growing and selling weed is what you get tax, where you can't get no tax write-offs on. So how I brought you them shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Merch.
Mm-hmm.
Use merch to make your money. Build brands with the merch. Sell candles, sell lighters. That type of stuff you can get a regular tax write-off on. And you can use that money to help your business. But just trying to use the money from your cannabis business is going to be hard to really make money unless you have like 15, 20 stores. You know what I mean?
Is that why, like, when you go into cannabis stores, they sell like the little pipes and the little...
You got to have sundries. You have to, because that you're not. That
but
is
you
how
can
you
get
make money.
You can get a write off from that.
Yes, you can, because it's not a cannabis product. It's an accessory, so you don't get taxed like that. The only way you're getting taxed.
You don't think all of the places are onto that game, or?
Yeah, everyone knows it, but
not everyone's doing it.
Yeah, because it's you got to have money to do it. People are so focused on buying the weed and buying other type of stuff for the stores that kind of like slips their mind. I know the value of having other things to sell. So it's like, no, you can't. You got to figure out other stuff to sell.
Now, like when I go to some of these places in LA,
mm-hmm.
which are phenomenally built, like, they got the dog products
mm-hmm.
and this,
mm-hmm.
Now, is that considered legal,
that's
not
legal.
Federal?
No.
Federally problem.
No. That's illegal. So a lot of people tend to forget. My kids, we talked about it too. My oldest son is 25. My youngest daughter is 16. They're not really taught about checks and balances anymore in school. California made cannabis legal, like other states. I think it's 38. What California does is California business. The feds could come in and shut us down because we're not legal on the feds, but they're allowing the checks and balances to win. So California can do whatever they want. So it's not like the feds have to be being total assholes to come shut down everybody. You understand what I'm saying? But as long as California approves it, the feds kind of like their hands are tied as long as you, I guess, ain't doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Stay off their radar. You know what I mean? And for me, it was just like I said, it wasn't even a Fed thing. It was just within the city. It made no sense to stay open. My store was located across from where the A's and the Raiders and the Warriors used to play. All three of them teams are gone. What am I open for? I lost 50% of my business just when that happened. And that was before getting robbed by two sets of groups. So
when you say robbed, like, you're not like robbed with guns. I mean, these are your partners.
No, I had 5 of those robberies with guns. I had a car through my store the last time they robbed it. They rode a car through my store. And then I got robbed by my partners twice. So I've been robbed 7 times total in 6 years.
Yeah, that doesn't make me excited about that. That industry sounds stressful as heck.
It's very stressful.
And do you have to find different ways of like hiding your money in these robberies?
Yes, and because they don't even get any money. That's the thing. The money is in the safe or already been dropped. Most of the money is spent on me rebuilding. And then when you apply for like your insurance claim, you don't get nothing. So I'm basically, the last 2 times I broke into, I didn't even file a claim. It didn't make no sense. And I think I had like about $40,000 worth of damage, but it made no sense because the stuff that they damaged, is covered, but it's like so much you got to go through with it. And then my landlord, it's his building.
I was gonna say the landlord. If anybody's making a profit off these damages, the landlord.
Yes. Yes.
Well, shoot, you better talk to some of these celebrities and get you a building. How hard is it to get a commercial building?
It's not hard, but I didn't know what I know now. Had I known what I, going into this, I wouldn't even partner with them. But everything happens for a reason and how it's supposed to happen. I needed to go through that to learn what to do now.
Yeah.
Like I don't hate the people that did that, both parties. I don't have no negative ill will toward them. They taught me a lot. They taught me how to move like they move. I know more about LLCs now, how to walk away from an LLC or let a LLC bankrupt and what that looks like. I understand that now. I know why they had 15, 16 LLCs. I couldn't understand, like, why y'all got me paying rent to this LLC and this LLC and this LLC? Oh, I know now. So, no.
What do you know from that? I don't know.
So,
I don't know. Tell me.
When you have LLCs, that literally stands for a limited liability company. That means your liability to whatever debt or whatever's going on with that business is limited based on how you structured it. So when I came in with my previous partners, that LLC and all that debt that came along with it shouldn't have to travel with me because it's limited liability. I had no clue they were stealing. I can prove that I didn't know. They were taking the money. Why are y'all coming after me to try? People were trying to come after me and sue me personally. Take my house off. I had nothing to do with that. That's the purpose of having a limited liability company. It limits your liability. So once you know that, then you start the bankruptcy process. You go through that. That's most of these people that don't look like us have 15 LLCs and they just live. If something goes on with one, they wash it, come with a new one.
Damn, and here I am. My favorite corporation is an S Corp. I love me an S Corp.
I love an S Corp too. I love
like that's my favorite. People talk LLC. I'm like, I've never had an LLC. But I like an S Corp.
I do my LLC, but then with my other businesses, I filed for my S Corp. You know what I'm saying? But that I can't do that with cannabis.
Now, can you share for everybody the difference between an LLC and an S Corp?
Okay.
Come on, educate us. Tucky,
I know the difference, but for me, how I equate it is all with tax filing. That's how I equate it. The LLC, you file one way. The S Corp, you file another way. And it all depends on the money you made within that year. But as far as like the definitions of the S Corp, I only have one company that's an S Corp and my CPA handles it all. Get y'all a CPA.
Yeah, I have a really good accountant. Shout outs to Robert Hill. I like S Corps because I can pull a salary.
Yep.
And then the profit from the business can be added as an extra income. So I'm allowed to basically have the benefits of write-off, employment, and profitability all in one scoop. So like when it comes to buying an asset, it benefits me more.
Yes.
And LLCs, I just know that my accountants, whenever my companies gross a certain amount of money, they're like, yo, you're getting taxed at a higher rate. Versus the S Corp, you get taxed, you save a lot more money.
Yes.
So, but I never really understood the benefits. I just know that every time, like maybe the first year, they'll be like, yeah, you can slide as a C Corp. But as that company grows and revenues, you're like, get the fuck out of here.
Yep. That's literally what my CPA said.
And switch to S Corp. And it's so crazy because I remember fighting my accountant on one of my business for years because I thought it would cost more money or it'd be like a whole bunch of work. And all I had to do was say, okay. And he would just click a box and that's it. And when I say I lost a lot of money, and I preach it to everyone that works for me to turn into corporation, I can preach it till I turn purple. These guys will never do it.
Yeah. And
the day they do it, though, I will be so happy.
I'm trying to tell you, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. But that's interesting. So, That's
and I'm not trying to drag on the industry and tell y'all not to get in it. It's a new industry, so it's gonna go through bumps.
Do you, with the license, can you grow your own weed?
So I don't have a grow license on purpose, but I can get a grow license. Yes, I can do that.
Why don't you have one on purpose? You're gonna get a lot of people hitting you up like, "Yo, let's get into business together."
Because I've grown weed for a long time, but I don't have the desire to grow weed anymore. I'd rather, before I came here, I just went and visited a farm. I'd rather buy weed from farms that I trust and let them deal with that. They got to deal with the overhead, the maintenance, the growing. I don't want to deal with that no more. People don't realize growing weed is a process, and it takes a lot of money and a lot of time. And if you don't have neither, your product's not going to be good. So I just don't have the time or the money to do it. I'm at a different place in my life. I got grandkids. I don't want to grow weed.
What's the profitability margins when you buy it?
So for me, I'm speaking for me. When I buy weed, I think of weed buying as a consumer as well as a owner.
Mm-hmm.
I want to buy good weed for a good price. So when I buy weed, whatever you sell it to me for, some companies do like a 200 to 300% markup. I may do like a 30% markup. So if I get it for 15, some companies will sell it for 45. That's enough for them to buy another one, make some money. Me personally, I may do it for, let's just say 30, 35. Long as I got enough to rebuy and make $5.
Why do you do that?
For me, I want you to come back and buy more. Okay. So if I'm cheaper, you're going to come back and buy more than if you just come back that one time. Okay, Tucky gave me some weed. It was good. I spent the high for it. But maybe I'll come back to him just when I'm in town, just on the fluke. But if I'm giving to you that same good weed for maybe $4 cheaper, you're going to come buy it from me. And it's not hurting me profit-wise, to me.
You just remind me of that clip of DC Young Fly on Eating While Broke, where he's like, there's somebody using this stepped-on bullshit.
Man, I'm telling you, like, and shout out DC, that's family too. Praise Yahweh, that's my guy. But, like, no, it's I approach legal like I did in the streets. Okay. Everybody sells weed. What's going to make me different than you?
Okay.
My price.
Yeah, okay, I like that. That's exactly what that was literally, there's a clip, if I find it,
I already know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
so I watched it.
Yeah, it was a funny clip, but he was like, yeah, man, that's the price.
That comes from the hustler's mentality. A lot of the people that's in the space now never sold weed before, ever. So they don't get that. That's something I've been trying to tell the city for the longest time. It's like, y'all, if y'all will lower the taxes, we would sell more product because the customers are coming in, they seen as high tax, it limits how much they want to buy. But if the taxes is lowered, they would buy more and y'all would get more tax money. But they don't understand that. They don't get it.
How do you choose your vendors as far as like edibles?
Testing them, bring them in, let us test them, give them to my staff, let them test them, make sure they're good, and then go from there. It's pretty simple. Like,
how do I qualify to be a tester?
What you want? Shit, what you need? Shit, I've been selling.
But you can't mail it. You can't mail it to me, huh?
I can mail you some edibles. Don't tell nobody.
It's okay because I mailed my mom edibles.
I can mail a lot of stuff. Though we'll talk off camera.
Yeah. No, is that bad though? Can you mail edibles?
You can mail edibles. Just don't tell nobody you're mailing edibles. If you're gonna mail edibles,
is it illegal? Is it illegal to mail edibles?
You're not supposed to mail anything with THC in it across state lines. So anything with THC.
Has THC.
So cross state lines. Now, if you're in California and you're sending somebody some edibles, put something else in it, like maybe a candle or a lighter or a T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Mix it up. But if you cannot ship THC across state lines, it's illegal.
Just so you know, everyone, that when Tucky came, he came with gifts.
Oh.
I love gifts, okay?
Gotta have gifts.
He gave me an edible, he gave me a lighter, and he gave me a really cool T-shirt, The Evolution of the Blunt, which was really cool, which I'm going to ask for in black and white, probably.
I'm going to send them.
You did not know this, but God works so funny with me. I needed a lighter for my house. This sounds really crazy. And I don't know why.
What are the odds?
I was like, I have these like matches that are busted at home, and I keep going to my stove and like relighting them to light the candles in my house. And I was like, why is it that I just can't remember to buy a lighter, or even know where to buy a lighter from? But you handed me a lighter. Is that crazy? Like that, just the most random things will make somebody be like, yes, I needed this.
I believe wholeheartedly in, like I said, I call the Heavenly Father Yahweh. Yahweh makes things happen when it's supposed to happen. Even with just us, we've been talking for a year. I could have been out here. It was meant for me to come today. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm fine with that. Like everything that's happened in my life is happening because it's supposed to. And I don't know that it's supposed to happen. I'm just walking the path. Like, I never thought getting caught for selling weed was gonna lead me to open the store. Like, and all the people I've met since then met you because of that. You know what I'm saying? So I take it for what it is. It's just like I'm walking my path, and I got to do whatever I can while I'm here to keep that path straight. That's why I don't believe in like negative, like all that arguing and all that. I don't live there. Me and my wife could argue, and I'm hugging her 5 minutes later. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
I'd rather visit anger, but I don't want to live there. So.
And then, have you considered being a weed consultant? Well, you are a weed consultant.
Yeah, I do it now.
What am I talking about? I was emailing your consultant.
I do it now.
So how do people go about reaching you for that? And what services do you provide as a weed consultant?
So I tell everybody to hit me on IG to start first, just because it's a lot of weirdos. I don't want to give you my email and my phone number. I'm one of them kind of people. Call me. But I offer everything. I do a full course where I do an intro, to cannabis, where it's like just the business of cannabis. But then I also do an intro to like growing techniques, and I do all the way up to advanced. Shout out Al Harrington. Al Harrington is how I started teaching. He had a company called the Harrington Institute, and he hired me as a teacher. And I was like, all right, cool, let me do it. And I loved it. I was like, man, this is amazing. So I just took my curriculum that I had with them, made it for me, and then now I teach students with it.
And you teach people with a license or without?
With or without. And I do it I'm probably different than anybody else because I allow them to tell me what they want. So I take 4 students at a time, and I'll have them tell me what it is you want to know about cannabis. What is it that you're trying to do? What you're trying to achieve? And then I guide my teaching for those 6 weeks for that. And after that, they get full access to me, full access to my black book, any connections that I have, I share with them. All of my students are still my friends. Like I see them at different conferences. 2 of them, I've had 8 students total. 3 of them are GMs at dispensaries now. 3 of them are bud tenders at dispensaries. One of them isn't even in the cannabis field at all. He realized that it wasn't what he wanted to do, so he's doing ancillary stuff for cannabis businesses. And he's eating. He called me all the time. He's like, man, I'm so glad you changed my, because he wanted to open a store. He like, and I wasn't trying to change his mind, but I just wanted to be real with
Educate him.
If you don't know about 280E, there's no reason for you to jump into this trying to grow and sell weed.
Now, do you assist people in the paperwork to get a license, or how hard is it to get a license?
So getting a license is pretty easy. The city now has stuff set up to help people with applying for it. So if people want to have me help them do that, I will, but I would prefer them to go through the city that they're in, because every city has different requirements. So if you come to me, you're from Oakland, I can help you with the requirements, but I can't help you from LA because I don't know their requirements. You'd have to do the research on that.
Now, are you able to do those city nonprofits? Because I know I know in Los Angeles, we have like economic development centers. We have business or centers. If you're in Los Angeles and you are not familiar, but the city of Los Angeles really supports entrepreneurs. They have right now, we have a legacy grant. If you've been in business for over 20 years, there's a $20,000 grant, free and clear. And the city business or centers locally will help you put together that paperwork. You don't even have to struggle on your own. It'll probably help you actually get it.
They will.
They also help you with your DBAs, your S Corps. They even have grants for immigrants out right now in LA, where if you are an immigrant or you have barriers to entry in employment, you can get a $10,000 grant for a legalized street card. They help you with your permits and everything. LA definitely does it. Does Oakland do those types of things?
They have those type of things. And what's crazy is most of my money last year I made was from grants. 99% of the money I made last year was from grants. Just from knowing how to apply for them. But that's something I've learned. Those are things that we tend not to know where the money is. It's a grant for everything. You just got to know where to find them.
Now, do you get help to apply for your grants, or you just do it on your own?
So I have a grant writer on my team.
You have a grant writer on your team. That's interesting.
I have a grant writer on my team, but then cheat code is what's that thing called? The AI thing. Chat GPT. That's the best grant writer you're gonna find.
Really?
What?
Get the freak out.
Pay that $20 a month and get that. And this is a game I got from somebody else within the last 6 months. When I say my proposals have been amazing, you just tell it what you want it to do and how you trying to propose it. I'm trying to tell you, I damn near fired my grant writer. I'm like, what am I using you for? He talking about, well, that's what I use. I use ChatGPT. I said, you bastard.
Oh, my goodness.
You bastards. So,
oh, my goodness. Let me tell you something. ChatGPT is a great investment. It's weird. I have like a love-hate personality. Like you love me, but you also can hate me easily, because some people consider me mean, because I'm like, my homie says I'm mean with the eyes. That's what it is.
My wife. My wife mugs everybody. She's the sweetest person on earth, so I know.
But what I do is sometimes when I'm sending an email and I need something important, of course my original email will be like, yo, where is it at? Or give it to me. Like, why are you late? Whatever.
Right.
I'll literally type that and say, make it nice in ChatGPT.
What? Spits it out.
I literally will write what my email is.
And
put
say,
it
make
in
this nice.
GPT and make this like, I'll just edit this.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll be going off and I'll be ready to press send, and I go, ooh,
nope.
Don't press send.
Don't do
Take
that.
everything you wrote, put it in ChatGPT, and I'll be like, make it business professional, make it nice, make it warm.
Just make them edits on that. Oh man.
And it'll say exactly what I wanted to say, but with like a cherry and a smile. Yes.
Yeah, very nice.
Is that crazy?
Man, that thing, when he told me that, I said, man, that's some free game. I spend that $20 every month. It don't bother me at all.
It is great, but it's also free game for everyone out there. We did not know that applying for grants, you could totally use ChatGPT. Yes. That is the best kept secret right there. And it's cool because you could take what the grant requirement is and probably just copy and paste it.
Literally, it's like, it makes it so... Like,
and ChatGPT, what I noticed is it keeps a log of your stuff because sometimes cheat code. I know a lot of people have different theories on how I get guests on the show, but every once in a while, I will have to redraft an email for requesting a guest. And ChatGPT knows so much about eating while broke that I don't even have to like retype stuff. ChatGPT will like do my whole request and know everything about eating while broke. I don't know how. And I could be like, well, just send this request to whoever. And they'll do the whole thing. And I'll tweak it, of course. Because
it definitely, ChatGPT will also send you down the rabbit hole too if you ain't paying attention. Like if you ask it too much and get too technical with it, it'll spit some stuff out. You'll be like, what? But if you just give it the key points...
Yeah. It's good, and a lot of people don't know this about ChatGPT. I don't know why we sound like a damn ChatGPT commercial, but
it works. We giving games. So.
Images. Did you know?
Oh man.
Let me tell you something. I did my daughter's birthday party invitation. I did the basic invitation, and of course, it's still janky because it won't have like the letters right or the words right.
Right.
And then I'll go over in Photoshop and just re-edit it. So like even for logos, like I did another company recently and I did like 30, prompts and I finally got the logo I wanted. And I said, hey. And people were like, I love that logo. I'm like, thank you. It cost me $20.
$20.
Did you know that?
Yes. My people that put me on the ChatGPT, because I was still like, well, AI, whatever. We was in the process of writing some grants and applying for some money. And my proposal was A1. It was this stuff I typed up myself, and he was like, take that same proposal and run through ChatGPT and watch what happens. I'm like, well, what's wrong with this? He's like, there's nothing wrong with it, but watch what happens. Man, I said, yeah, I'm stuck.
That's what I'm telling you.
Instantly paid that $20. Yeah. It was right then at that moment.
I have it definitely, and I do it for, like I said, just because my tone, as my friends would say, I have mean eyes, but my tone could come off a little like crack, like cold. And so it sounds crazy, but I take that extra minute to like just soften my email so I sound like a human being that doesn't want to kill you.
I tell my wife that all the time, like, babe, retype that. You cannot, because I see her, she fuming while she typing.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'm like,
babe, you're typing to the owner, like, of your company, of your whole, you can't do that. Like, redo that. So yeah, no, it's been a great
I 100% am that person, and I'm like, right before I press send, because I have mentors. I am a strong person. I love mentors, even though I will say the older I get, the more I fight with them, the more I'm like, I know what I'm talking about. And then they check me and I'll be like, I know an hour from now, a week from now, the answer is going to be you're right and I'm wrong. Right. And I've bumped my head enough times to know that, I may have that quick clap back with my mentor and they may even have a quick clap back with me.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm going to sit for an hour in that heat and I got to kiss the pinky ring.
That's it. That's it.
That's
growth though too. That's being a mature adult. You know what I mean? Like, I love to learn. I feel like I can learn from anybody, older, younger, in between. It don't matter. If you got something that's of value, I need to listen. You know what I mean? So that's just me.
When you pivot in your business, do you look at it as a pivot or do you sometimes look at it as you're settling?
So for me, I look at it as pivots because for me, I don't settle for shit because I know that. Like, I got bills. Like, all my bills are on auto pay. So I got to figure out.
You sound like me. We could be friends after this.
That's perfectly fine. Okay. Like you have to be able. That is me
all day.
I have to be able to make my money for my lifestyle, for my kids, my grandkids, my wife. So, no, I don't look. For me, a pivot, especially in just life in general, pivots for me is like, how can I put it? All my losses I take as lessons. So I don't look at it as a loss as a bad thing. I had to learn something from it. You know what I mean? So where you learn from it, how do you apply that to the next thing you finna do? I never thought cannabis was gonna last 3 years on the legal side. I was able to be in it 6 years, running a good store, doing a lot of good stuff for the community. Like, fuck just selling weed. I had expungement clinics at my store for people who had cases. I've had
a what?
Expungement clinic, like where they come in and help you get your record clear.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had 3 of those at my store before. I've had open, like I'd have multiple food trucks come to my store and just set up and just do food for the community. Like I'm a big community person. That doesn't bother me. So it's like, let me figure out ways to move around and do what I need to do. But my pivots have always been about growing. So it's just like, okay, this not working. Let me find out what do work and get on it. Like
Do you think that's like the secret behind being a great entrepreneur? Is that pivot versus a L? Like, I feel when the entrepreneurs that I respect the most are the ones that pivot the best. For me, it's like watching a sport. Like, it's not that I shut down the company. It's that I pivoted into something that looked like it was producing better results.
Yes.
That's what I was wondering from your perspective. Because to say I agree. Hey, you know, I got into this industry, you know, for whatever reason, I got the license. Everything worked in my favor. But I was able to say, okay, my store was getting robbed 6 times. This was happening. Let me re-look at the playing board. Let me replay the numbers. I'm losing $50,000 a month doing this. Well, this makes the business more profitable.
Yes.
And I think on your first business, I know at least for me, I would be very emotional about it. Yeah. I'll be crying and stuff.
I was hurt. But like I told you, I don't live there long.
I don't live there long, but my first company, it took me about, I would say 4 years to do the full breakup. But that's how I am, I guess, in all my relationships.
That's because you think for me, I could have, when the first partner did what they did and left, I should have been done then. But I didn't know. I'm still trying. I'm like, let's pivot. Let's figure something out. Yeah. Because for me, I'm like, I see what we're doing in the community. Okay, can get better. We'll figure something out. I got back with them and it was kind of like, it was the same thing all over again. Did that tarnish me on working with other people? Kind of, but at the same time, it can't. Those are just 2 bad humans. Everybody else not bad.
Yeah.
So I have to look at it like that. Like, no, you're gonna have to work with people along whatever journey you're on. You know what I'm saying? That's just, it is what it is. But I just took, like I said, I took that loss as a lesson and used that lesson to help me pivot to where I'm at now. Because for the longest time, I was telling everybody, mama, get you a store. It's money and ownership in the space. But it was the wrong type of ownership I was telling them to get. That store ownership ain't always cracked up to be. There's other ways to own in the space. And I'm realizing that now and making sure I share that.
What are your top 3 favorite books as an entrepreneur?
Ooh, that is a good question. Rich Man, Poor Man is one I always read. I haven't read in a long time. I need to read again.
Rich Man, Poor Man or Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay.
That's the one.
I was like, Rich Man, Poor Man. What is that? Okay.
That's the one. That's the one. It's been a minute.
That's a long time. Okay.
Let me see. Books as an entrepreneur. What's crazy?
Like what books that really helped carry you through? Are you a big reader as an entrepreneur?
I used to be a big reader, but now I'm more of like a go sit and ask type person.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, let me meet with you. Let me pick your brain. If that's going to cost me a fee, let me pay that fee. I'm one of them kind of people. Like, I used to have time to read, but now I need to actually do more reading. I'm glad you actually brought that up because I told my wife, I need to read some more. Not that I don't read, but I don't read like I used to. So I know the rich dad, poor dad for sure. But other than that, I can't really think of them because my entrepreneur game comes from me being around people and soaking up and taking notes and being in the rooms with people and asking questions. That's where I got a lot of my game from.
I like that, but I have to say I love to read.
I know.
I love to read. There are some books I'll definitely sidebar you and like send you some books that I think really changed the way I do business and genuinely enjoyed reading.
Please do.
I was just genuinely curious because I was like, maybe he knows something that I don't know.
No, but it's a trip that the book learning and the people learning all still intertwined. It's still intermesh, you know what I mean? Because somebody had to write the book, a person had to write it. So it's just, I'm just big on learning, and I can learn from where. Just sitting here, I've already learned stuff from you that I didn't even know about. That's making me want to do more. You know what I mean? I just made a post maybe about 2-3 weeks ago that I want to be around people that make me better, that's making more money than me, that's hustling harder than me, that's doing better than me. Like, I want that because it's going to make me want to do better. Yeah. Hanging around people who's doing less, not that they're bad or anything, but we're not in the same space. No. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Eating While Broke would not exist if at that period in my life I wasn't hanging out more with my more successful friends. I noticed personally for myself, I'm more comfortable with the friends that aren't doing as well. Mm-hmm. But when I get around my friends that are extremely successful, I mean, millionaires, one, they don't treat me different.
Not at all.
But the conversation is different. The conversation is constantly about creating.
Yes.
Building the world that hasn't been seen yet. Whether it's planting a tree, building this, building that, like the conversation is different. And then the people at this other level, the conversation is more, it's sad to say, but like, I call it like trailer talk. Like, you know, what girl you sleeping with, who's getting cheated on who has this and who's doing that. And it's more gossipy versus like we're trying. And then it's more like last minute content creation. Like, I see such and such built a YouTube page and I heard they did that. So they'll do 3 posts for like 3 seconds. But the ones that are really successful, you hang around them enough. It's damn well impossible not to dream big. Yeah, like no, and they dream big. They dream like they been dreaming and all their dreams came true. But in reality, you hang out with successful people enough, you realize that they cry alone.
Yeah.
They failed alone. They go through all, you know what I'm saying? They go through all that. But that consistency of I'm gonna keep throwing stuff at the board and we'll see what sticks really works with them. But I will say this: my best moments are hanging around. Not that my other friends aren't fun, because I did a great time.
100%.
But my best like get up is if I'm surrounding myself by people that are straight winners, like thoroughbreds. I remember one time I had a low patch. This was like a couple years ago. One of my successful friends sent me this like Instagram thing, and it was like a pack of dogs walk running together, and one dog was weak.
Okay.
And it was like, keep running with us. You'll catch up.
Yes.
And I was like, you don't care about me, you know. But it was kind of like, yo, run with us. Like, you know, we don't give a fuck where you at. We don't care if you fall, you broke your leg. Continue to run with us. You're gonna catch up to speed or whatever.
In the circles I want to be in, like, there's nothing wrong. You got people you grew up with that you grew apart from. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm realizing that. I'm 44. I finally realized that about 36, 37, it's okay to have new friends. You know what I mean? Like a lot of, like, for example, Neo. I met Neo 5 years ago. That's my partner. Like, we talk just about regular cannabis stuff. Same thing with Slink. A bunch of the people who I've seen come on here. Yeah, Slink. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
let me tell you something. He is one of the most viral
that is the homie.
Clips.
Niggas know that. Niggas know your mama. Come on now.
Let me shout out to Slink. Slink was
shout
on
out
the
my
show
brother Slink, man.
Joking about how he had been up and down, but he was the most impressive on the show with vulnerability. I think he had like $40 in his pocket at the time. But we had put out this clip of him saying like, yeah, man, I took my wife to Maldives, or my girl to Maldives. And then I came home and was eating chili dogs every day. I promise you, that clip is shared. We get the alerts on how many times it is shared consistently, back to back.
And he's not lying. How do I know? Because I know him personally. He ain't lying. He literally went. I know her, know the old lady, know the kids. They went, had a great time. He got back. He's like, bro, I'm broke as shit. She was hella funny. Yeah. Slink used to cook pies and stuff, and like you know, like, we hustlers.
Yeah. He shared his story. It was really great. What advice would you give to someone that doesn't have a license, that does do that is in the business illegally and wants to go legal? Or what advice would you give them, period, if they are doing it illegally and that's what they feel they only know?
Right. Most of us are like that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all we know. A lot of people don't even know that this legal stuff is going on. If you're interested in getting in the legal space, my advice is find a me and suck up game. Do a lot of research. Do as much research as you can on your own, but find people in the space that's actually doing the work. Don't get conned. Find somebody that's in the space doing the work and work with them. Talk to them. Ask them questions. Get in these rooms. Be willing to spend money to go to some of these events. Like, a lot of people don't realize, when I did 85 South, when I did Sway, when I'm doing Eating While Broke, I'm paying for myself to get here. That's money. That's like marketing money to me. Be willing to spend money on yourself. A lot of people in rap and just whatever don't want to spend money on themselves. But you want somebody to spend money on you, but you're not willing to spend no money on yourself. Be willing to spend some money on yourself. Be willing to put yourself in them rooms and set yourself a budget to be able to go do that. That's what would be my advice, is get in these rooms and talk to these people.
Yeah.
So you got to do it.
Shout outs to Tucky Blunt. You can find him on Instagram. You are very nice, very approachable. So you guys don't have to be out there all like, well, I need to dress myself in a suit and approach him. He's very approachable. We've been talking back and forth for like a year about doing this episode. And so I'm saying this sidebar, like, hey, you can literally reach out to him.
Yep.
Ask these questions on like what the next steps are, full transparency.
Yep.
If he does have a consulting fee, that's great. I would definitely recommend it. I mean, you want to hire someone that's been in your shoes and that you can feel comfortable being transparent with, you know. Like I have a pastor, which I want to bring him on the show. He doesn't know yet. But like I say the craziest stuff in front of my pastor, but I like that because I'm like, you know what? It's someone that I can relate to, but that's walking the direction that I want to go in.
Right.
And that's the same thing I would say to you guys. Like, if you're interested in this business, you know, and then have you made like millions of dollars doing this business or like?
Oh, well, the business had made millions of dollars, but you don't get to see it because you're paying all the money in taxes and the staff and all the overhead. So no, for 6 years, I never made a profit. But also keep in mind, I was being stolen from. So once I took over control September of 23 till March of 24 when I closed, I got to see actual real numbers. Blunt and More could have made money if we weren't being stolen from. I could have made money, but I was being stolen from. There was no way to get out from under it. They were stealing money and then not paying the vendors. That's a double whammy. Yeah. So there's no way to come up from under that. But it's definitely, you can make money, but the way to make the money in the legal space is doing everything but selling weed. You got to do everything else. You got to use that money from the merch, from the parties, from whatever it is that you do to make money. I tell people that all the time. What can I do in the weed space? Whatever you do in your normal 9 to 5, whatever you do in your everyday space, bring that to weed. There's a need for it. But everyone is just focused on selling the weed. No one is focused on, like how you just said, a lighter. Them lighters, you can get, I don't know, I think it's like $300 for 50 of them. You can just sell those and make money just off lighters. You can make trays. You can make ashtrays, whatever. You can use that money to help facilitate.
And what about the vendors that are trying to get into the stores? Like if, say, there's a pipe vendor or an ashtray vendor, like how hard is it to get into these stores? Do they just go up to the store?
They need to go to the store and holler at the store. Stores need that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to present yourself. So they need us,
and we just gotta go and present ourselves. You just gotta go in there and
present yourself.
That's awesome.
I just choose to do my own stuff branded because it's brand recognition. You know what I'm saying? But if you have a perfect example, Neo's moms makes our ashtrays. I could have went and bought my own Blunt and More ashtrays, but she's making some. All right, let me get them from you and put Blunt and More on them. So now I'm supporting a whole nother business that's a black-owned business that's putting stuff in my black-owned business that I'm selling to my people. Easy peasy. Like it just I don't know, just seems natural and it's easy to do. And she's not touching the plant. So she don't have to worry about the taxation.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
you heard it here first, guys. So can you spell it out for everyone, all our listeners, on how to keep up with you, how to reach out to you? Cameron, the center is all yours.
I am Tucky Blunt on everything. TuckyBlunt. Just be respectful when you reach out. I'm super, super transparent, and I'm Tucky Blunt everywhere. Sidebar, I appreciate you and what you're doing for entrepreneurs, because you're one of the rare podcasts where you'll see stars, but you'll see a me. You know what I'm saying? And you don't really get that a lot. So I appreciate you and what you're doing for people like me.
Thank you. Well, it's all love. It's an honor to have you. And like I said, my favorite guest, my team knows it, is always going to be an entrepreneur. It's always ride or die for y'all. She ate the spam, y'all. And I love the spam sandwich. I'm just genuinely curious. I'm hoping that I don't know what's in spam. I just hope it's not red meat.
Man,
I think it's pork, right?
It's special parts and meat.
Oh my God, hilarious. I'm going to be sick after taping. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Eating While Broke. Peace out.
That was tight. You good with me.